All right, guys, today is a big day. Maximus is finally getting a long overdue upgrade thanks to Coastal Off-Road. We're gonna be building the Coastal Off-Road high clearance front bumper kit. Everybody online says this is pretty straightforward. It may take a little bit longer because I'm using a small little hobby welder, and who knows how long the welding is gonna take. But we're gonna get it started. It's a Saturday. We'll get as much done as we can between now and Sunday. Here we go. All right, so the first thing, luckily, Coastal Off-Road sends a pretty thorough instruction manual for building this. Step one is we're gonna be popping the hood and taking the grill off so that we can prep the bumper for cutting. Put a little pop it up. So the next step is just we're gonna unclip this pin right here. And then we're gonna use, ideally you would use a digital level, but I couldn't get my hands on one fast enough. So we're doing it the old school way. We're gonna put the level on the back side. You can either do it on the frame, underneath the truck, or on the bed sides. And you're gonna make sure each side sits level because we're gonna use that to mark for our cut. So we wanna make sure this side is perfectly level. So starting from this line here, we're gonna mark a line going out, and we're gonna make sure that that line is perfectly level with the rest of the truck, because that's where we're gonna cut this plastic. No turning back. So now we're gonna measure from the ground. Now we got the truck level. We're gonna measure from the ground to this body line. And we're gonna follow that measurement around to the edge. All right, it's time for the point of no return.
I'm so scared.
Here we go.
Get this part off.
All right, so now we're gonna just remove this piece. Gotta disconnect the wires for the fog lights that are attached to this. Then we're gonna remove the aluminum bumper portion. All right, now the aluminum bumper portion here, it's coming off. This is just held on by 14 bolts, 14 millimeter nuts here. Trusty socket wrench and my helper. So now we're going to reinstall the grill, and the next step is we're going to relocate some stuff down here. I got to look and see what it is. Heater coils or something, I don't remember. They have, Coastal Off-Road includes a set of brackets for that relocation. I've just painted them. I'm waiting on them to dry before I stick them in there. So that's what's next. There it is. All right, so now we are relocating the heat exchange coils. It's the one piece they don't provide hardware for, that should be noted. You're gonna need an extra set of bolts. The factory bolt will go back into the frame, into their bracket, but you're gonna need a second bolt to attach the original bracket to the relocation. You see here.
So we did tuck it behind the front end of our skid plate. It would not fit otherwise, but it sits nicely in there once it's tucked behind the skid plate. And of course we had to slightly push back the radiator doohickey.
What is that? What is that?
That's the radiator doohickey. It's pipe.
Push that pipe back. So now we've got the base plate attached. Everything is going to build off of that first plate. And the first piece that goes on there is what everything else builds off of. So there are notches on the ends of that base plate that these will go into. But first, this portion becomes the winch mount, or not the winch mount, the hook mounting location. So what we have to do is bevel this edge and the edge that mates to it here, so that way we can get a nice deep weld on it and grind it flat for a nice clean finish. Once we do that, we start putting plates on the bumper. This is the portion that we'll weld. We're gonna fill that trough there, that ditch, with weld, then we'll grind it nice and flat.
Stuff.
Okay.
So they've got some really handy tabs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that helps you line these up initially.
That's nice. There's no guesswork. You know you've got it in the right spot.
After that, another important part is you're going to want to use some of these. If you ever welded anything, you're familiar with these. These are magnets, but they let me, I put them on here, and I know that my pieces are at 90 degrees.
Very nice.
So we're not actually welding anything right now. We're just going to tack everything together. We're going to do little tacks on every piece, holding it all together. And then we're going to we'll take it off the truck entirely and weld everything up. So let's get to tacking. Tell you guys a little secret. So these instructions are thorough enough, but there's a few points they don't cover. There is a sheet that is the exploded view parts list. You can see here. They have numbers corresponding to every piece. However, they don't have a list that labels them. So for example, here I'm on step 6, which reads, front plate, faceplate, bevel the bottom long edge that will be in contact with plate number 8 of this piece and tack it in place. So I know what plate 8 is. It's this one here, where the winch will come through, the fair lead will attach. But they don't list the number for the front face. I'm struggling with that. The front faceplate. So you have to sort of use process of elimination. How many pieces have a long edge at the bottom of them that touch the plate number 8? So it's this one. In case you're struggling with this like I am, because I just have a tiny brain anyway.
Oh.
Process of elimination will tell you that it's this long skinny piece that for most of you it will be cut out for a hidden light bar. So now we're going to bevel that. We've already started tacking things into place. It's coming along nicely. Everything is meeting up the way it should. We've tacked in the winch base plate. And now we're gonna do this. And it looks like after that, our next step is to remove the center section. I believe we weld that up. Once that's welded up, we mount everything back on the truck and start the wings off the side.
So now we are going to remove it from the truck, solidify the welds that we attached, and then keep it moving.
As you can see, we've got the center portion tacked up and mounted. From here, we're gonna add on the wings. So the wings will go like this. And the instructions recommend assembling the wing sections separately, one at a time, and then attaching them to the bumper. So that's what we're doing now. All right, so what we've done here, we've assembled the majority of the driver's side wing. And what you do, this is where you'll need a friend. What you're gonna do is hold this in place here. And then what your friend is gonna do is raise this however it needs to get a nice even gap across the top. And then don't mind this gap right here, because you're gonna just fill that in with weld, clean it up with grind. The whole purpose of this is to tack it only on the top, and hinge it up however you need to get your gap nice and consistent. All right, so it's day 2. While you guys weren't here, I finished tacking everything up. The bumper in its entirety is assembled. The last couple of steps I showed you, we put the wings on, we put all the bottom pieces for the wings in, tacked those in, brought it back to the table, and now I've tacked in the mounts for the light bars. There are another set of tabs for mounting a light bar in here. I'm not gonna put those in because my winch will be here. I don't intend to put a light bar in that section. So now I'm gonna weld up everything. We're gonna do short welds every few inches on the inside. And then on the outside, we want long, clean, smooth welds, so that way when we grind it clean, we've got nice, smooth edges.
Seamless.
Seamless, baby. All right, let's do this. Didn't really record a lot of this. The cleanup process tends to be the slowest and longest and most excruciating part of the entire thing. Maybe more so for me because I was using that little hobby welder, so it was a lot of cleanup. Do the little bits, clean it up, fill in little holes, clean it up. So now where we're at is I've got it all cleaned up. We did a test fit here. We're happy with the way it's looking. Now we're off to powder coaters. We're gonna go to Powder River in Lenore? No, I think it's closer to Hickory. We're gonna have to take this off, put it in the bed of the truck, hit the road. And we'll see you again when we go to pick it up. All right, so we got the bumper back from powder coating. We didn't include that in the video. We dropped it off at Powder River in Newton, North Carolina. They did a great job. As you can see, some important things to note. Don't do this by yourself. When it comes to mounting, especially once you've got a winch inside, it's extremely heavy. It's close to 200 pounds. Another reason that we've waited to finish this video out, it's been probably a week, maybe more since I finished it. But the added weight dropped my front end. I upgraded to 700-pound springs in the front, and we've also added Icon RXT, the multi-level leaf pack in the rear, and then have the front coils readjusted. So I've got my ride height back for where I need to be. We've got enough spring support in the front to support all the new added weight. Something else to make note of, when you go to mount this, the easiest way you're gonna find is take the entire grill assembly off. Remove the whole grill, and that way, once you've got you and your friend, whoever's helping you out, get the bumper into place onto the 6 existing bumper mounts. Get the top 2 bolts finger tight, then the bumper's not going to go anywhere. From there, go underneath and affix the 2 bolts from the bottom, get those nice and tight, and that'll snug it up to where it needs to be. Now, when you built the bumper, you welded the plates to the bottom, and so you can't get the bumper any higher than where you started that. So if you want, you can lower it. For example, I've got where I've cut the existing plastic here, it's a little close, so I may lower that side. And that's simple. All you do is you're gonna remove the bottom bolts, add a few washers, and then tighten it back up. So what that'll do is shift this driver's side down just a little bit and clear me of that plastic where it's rubbing the powder coat right there. Once you've tightened up the bottom bolts, you've got it where you want it position-wise, then go ahead and tighten up the rest of the other 6 existing bumper mounts. And from there, you're good to go. You should have already, don't plan to put the winch in after mounting the bumper. It's not gonna work. The winch bolt accesses, you've got 2 in the front that are underneath. You can access those once it's mounted, but the other 2, there's an access hole in the rear that you'll have to use to access those and get that nice and tight. Beyond that, that's everything. If you've got one or you've got experiences, comment down below, let us know. Let us know what you think about this, and we'll see you guys out on the trail.